Joshua was not the only prophet to command a planet to act in accordance with his will. Moses and Aaron commanded the planet Mars, identified as the Lord or the angel of the Lord in the scriptural account, to send the plagues upon Egypt. It was dust from Mars that caused the waters of Egypt to turn blood red. Moses and Aaron did not give voice commands to the red planet as did Joshua. Instead, they used the rod of God to direct the planet. This was repeated at the Sea of Passage, where Moses raised the rod to part the sea. This verse is more explicit, with the Lord, meaning Mars, causing the sea to divide when directed by Moses with his stretched out hand. Elijah called down fire from a planet above, likely Mars. Following the prophet's verbal command, the planet struck the earth with a gigantic lightning bolt, vaporizing the surface, wood, and altar. Deborah was the ruling judge over Israel and prophetess, like unto Joshua and Moses. As such, she had the same authority to command the planets in behalf of the nation as they did. We learn from her song after the battle against Sisera that the planets, called stars, fought for Israel. Many scholars dismiss the explicit reference to heavenly bodies due to their incredulity. But this verse is to be taken literally. The Hebrew word translated stars is the plural form of kokab, or kokabim. The feminine form can refer to a planet, specifically Venus, the female star. Now we know from the book of Abraham that this same word, kokab, designates a star. The Hebrew plural, kokabim, designates stars. The great lights of the firmament are not the bodies we call stars today, but planets. Kolob was one of the kokabim, the great lights or planets, shown to Abraham. Later in the account, the Lord makes explicit that Kolob is a planet. Therefore, the Kokabim that fought for Deborah and Israel were planets. One of the stars commanded by Deborah to fight against Sisera was called Meroz. Apparently, it disobeyed the command and was therefore rightly cursed. Because of the reference to inhabitants, many biblical scholars object to calling Meroz a star or planet. That would mean that there is extraterrestrial human life on a nearby planet. Instead, they identified Meroz as a local village or city. But Meroz is mentioned only once in the Old Testament, in this verse, and it is unknown historically elsewhere. Scholars explain its absence as a city in Samaria as the effect of the curse. In other words, the city was destroyed so completely that it appears nowhere in the historical record. More puzzling still is the fact that scholars can't even determine the derivation of Meroz. They have no idea where the word came from. Be that as it may, Meroz can only be a nearby planet. The Talmud makes this clear, stating that the context of the verse makes this reading mandatory. Louis Ginzberg's Legend of the Jews agrees. The star Meroz is one of the fiery hosts of heaven. Besides, how can the inhabitants of an unknown village fight from heaven? If Meroz is a planet, then the text of the Song of Deborah and Barak makes sense. The planet sent fire to Earth, referring to huge electrical discharges, incinerating Sisera's troops alive. Due to the heat, the soldiers sought refuge in the river, which swept their bodies into the sea.